Yes, I have some. I'm going to remain seated because I haven't brought back. I have several issues for consideration and action by the board. The reason given for the special meeting of 8/11 was to enter into executive session to discuss the Town of Hope contract. This was not an approved reason to enter into executive session per the open meetings law. The board was informed during the public comment period by several citizens that this was the case and cited references in law to that effect. The board then stated that they were going into executive session to discuss the employment of a town employee, which is an approved reason for executive session, even though it didn't appear on the agenda. After coming out of executive session, the board proclaimed that they had decided to sign the new contract with the Town of Hope. One would conclude that the board did discuss the contract with the Town of Hope in executive session in violation of the New York State Open Meetings Law. Next, on August 4th, I submitted a FOIL request, Freedom of Information Act law, request to the Town of Benson Town Clerk asking for all records regarding town parcel 159.007-1-2 on Washburn Road, dating to 1975. The reason was to determine if any submissions and approvals or rejections from regulatory agencies, such as the APA, DEC, etc., existed that would inform the board and the public regarding future approved use by the town of the parcel. As of this date, I have not received a formal written answer from the town. Next, as stated and previously discussed, the only legal way to provide relief to a town employee for the use of a personal vehicle is to follow the Town of Benson Organizational Resolution 31-26, quote, resolved that any town officer or employee shall be compensated for the use of his or her automobile in the performance of his or her official town duties at the rate of 70 cents a mile, from Town Law, Section 116. Why direct fueling is prohibited? The gift and loan clause of the New York State Constitution strictly prohibits municipalities from gifting or loaning public funds or property to private individuals. Pumping town-owned fuel or using a town gas card for a privately owned vehicle is legally considered an unconstitutional gift of public resources because it is impossible to perfectly separate the town-used fuel from the personal use fuel remaining in the tank. IRS accountability regulations, also legitimate business expenses must follow an accountable plan. Pumping a bulk amount of fuel into a personal tank does not directly track actual miles driven for town work, rendering the entire transaction a taxable benefit that violates strict IRS and New York State vehicle valuation regulations. Next, I want to thank Highway Superintendent Mike Palmer and his staff for cleaning up the trees that were cut from the town road right of way, that's Store Road. They performed the job safely and efficiently. Thank you, Mike. On a similar vein, I want to reiterate that spoil from ditching operations on town or county roads cannot be legally deposited on private or public property, which was done last year on Store Road. Next, the Town of Benson Board recently cited Chapter 741 of the laws of 2023 when appointing town highway superintendents to one-year terms. Recent New York State even-year election law changes, Chapter 741 of the laws of 2023, directly target elected town offices. They do not legally override or rewrite an appointed town highway superintendent's term if that specific term length is validly set by a local law under the Municipal Home Rule Law. The term of the appointed highway superintendent was set in Benson by Local Law 3 of 2022. It was the local law to change the office of highway superintendent from elected office to an appointed office. The term of office paragraph and filling vacancy paragraph is a term of 2 years upon the terms and conditions determined by the town board, unless sooner removed by the town board in a manner provided for in this local law. The local law provides the town's highway board, the board, to remove a highway superintendent for malfeasance or misfeasance in office upon written charges presented to the town board in the form of one or more affidavits. The highway superintendent shall have an opportunity to appear before the town board and be heard. Copies of any such charges shall be served upon the highway superintendent accused thereby at least 10 days before his or her appearance before the town board. And lastly, on 8/11, while attending the special board meeting, I was informed that town councilperson Lori Mead had tendered her resignation from the board. The next day, on 8/12, I submitted a letter of interest requesting the town board consider me, David J. Rogers, for appointment to the board to fill the unexpired term of councilperson Mead until the next general election. I cited my qualifications for office, including my prior service of 4 years as councilperson. To date, I have not received a response from anyone on the board, nor does this matter appear on the agenda for this meeting. Respectfully submitted, David J. Rogers.
I'll continue on as far as I'm referencing the specific resolution about the Benson Highway Superintendent using diesel fuel. Specifically, what you're attempting to do would be called a retroactive or prospective town resolution, and it cannot legally cure the real problem that exists. The proposed resolution attempted by the town board represents an impermissible attempt to bypass constitutional safeguards and municipal accounting laws. Under Article 8, Section 1 of the New York State Constitution, no municipality may give or loan any money or property to or in aid of any individual. Examples: public versus private property. Town-owned diesel fuel is strictly municipal property. Dispensing public fuel directly into a privately owned vehicle is a constitutional violation. Lack of authorization power. Neither a town supervisor nor a full town board has the authority to suspend the state constitution. Their verbal or video recorded authorization, in quotes, to let the highway superintendent use town fuel is legally null and void. The broken truck excuse. Even if the town-owned truck is broken down, it does not create a loophole. Municipalities cannot give away commodities to offset an official's operational inconvenience. Under New York state law, a town board or supervisor cannot authorize the personal use of town-owned fuel or assets on the spot without prior official board action, a written policy, and a mileage tracking agreement. A, quote, retroactive resolution, unquote, to excuse the event after being caught on video raises significant transparency, fiscal, and legal concerns. The text of the posted resolution trying to, quote, approve requests for fuel for a personal truck is a legal impossibility under New York state law for two reasons. There's no retroactive curing. A resolution passed cannot retroactively undo the unconstitutional gift of public fuel that has already occurred. No commingling of public fuel and private use. According to numerous Office of the State Controller opinions, a town cannot give public fuel to an employee for their personal vehicle, even if that vehicle is being used for town business. There is no legal mechanism to ensure that public fuel is only combusted or used during official duties and not during personal commuting or errands, resulting in an illegal conversion of public property. The legally mandated remedy is restitution. The last resolved clause in your proposal tonight notes that in the future, the highway superintendent must use fuel vouchers. While this is the correct future procedure, the resolution fails to address the past illegal acts. So there's ways that have to be calculated, but that's where you need a town attorney to get involved because it's a huge deal, and I'll tell you why. Risk of passing the resolution as is. If the town board votes to pass the resolution without demanding full financial restitution from the superintendent, they face severe institutional consequences. Official misconduct. Town officials who knowingly authorize or ratify the unconstitutional distribution of public assets can be subject to charges of official misconduct under New York Penal Law 195. I sent you each an email the following, and I'm going to read it so it's on the record on video before you consider voting on this. Resolution number, and there is no number yet, attempts to authorize an unconstitutional gift of public property in violation of New York State Constitution, Article 8, Section 1. Voting yes to ratify the illegal conversion of public fuel without demanding immediate restitution constitutes an intentional act of official misconduct under Penal Law 195. If passed, this matter will be referred to the DA and the New York State Comptroller for criminal review. It's important that you understand this exists for your benefit. This is your opportunity to take a step back, to say there was a previous error made. In order to correct it, you'll sit down with your highway superintendent. You'll have the town attorney available. You'll come up with a plan that can be presented to the public in terms of how much fuel was used, on what dates, for what purposes, etc. There'll be an official document that gets presented to the public outlining everything that occurred, and you can rectify it by having him reimburse you the full amount of whatever that amount happens to be. After the fact, you can then reimburse him at the 70 cents per mile on whatever you compute. So it's not like he's going to be short anything, but the town will be made whole. They'll get their money back. So please consider that option seriously, because if you do vote to pass this tonight as it stands, the DA will be contacted and everybody else involved will be contacted. There will be consequences. On your... You were discussing modifying the transfer station agreement, and just a couple things. Maybe you already corrected this or will correct it, but before you vote on it, it mentions this $14,000, and the way it's worded, it says $14,000 will be the agreement costs for the loader. Well, I know what you're talking about, but a resolution is supposed to tell the public what that is. I happen to believe it's one half of the $28,000 they spent on repairing the loader, and that's split between the two towns. It doesn't say that, though. When you write a resolution, it's supposed to tell the story where the money's going from. It also says it will be the transfer agreement, $30,000, etc. It keeps referring to the transfer agreement. No, it's the transfer station agreement, and that's not a minor technical issue. It's not a transfer agreement, it's a transfer station agreement. So you have some correcting to make. And when it says this $30,000, which you may eliminate, will be the cost for the Town of Benson's use of the Town of Hope's tank, like an Abrams M1 or a tank. It makes no specificity. It doesn't have, you don't have anything here as far as I know, as far as the proposed contract with the Town of Hope. The citizens want to see that. They want to know how you're breaking it down. The great part of this is you've obviously made the decision that I think you'll get overwhelmingly approval for, is to stick with Hope in the 2027 year. So good for that. But the rest of this, you have to clean it up quite a bit, because the people that are in here want to know specifics. This is so vague. It looks like that $14,000 maybe to buy a loader, or to who knows what it is. All right.
Can I say something, please? I took it right off their transfer agreement, the wording.
And that's fine.
And they have to change theirs also then.
Well, we can't dictate anything that they do, but we can talk about here.
I took it verbatim off the transfer agreement that they sent me.
Have you actually seen the agreement?
I've got it.
Okay, can that be handed out to the public? There's nothing top secret about it.
I guess if you want copies of it, I'll make it.
That would be wonderful. What do you folks think? Anybody want copies?
Yes, that would. The resolution is written, doesn't tell the story, and I have no idea what that resolution means. I would hope that the actual agreement spells it out a little bit better.
I took it verbatim off the agreement.
Now, the loader, you were paying for half, for a payment for a loader.
How many
right?
copies?
Is that included in the 14,000?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Is the 14,000 for quoted in that resolution for the loader part of our payment for our half of the loader?
No,
That was
if
for-
you were at the other meetings, you would have, and John was at them. you can
Yes.
Play it back where you want.
we were all-
What it is, they came up with 14,000, what it is the cost of the use of the loader if we went out and rented one.
And maintenance.
And the maintenance of it and everything else.
We were all at the meeting where, at the Hope, where we sit there and ask them for more detail, and all they did was give us a piece of paper that said nothing on it.
So Zach
We
came up
asked
with
for more
that.
detail, and we didn't get it.
Don't we have an obligation to make yearly payments for the loader? Not the use of it, the rent, the leasing of it. When they have
No,
$140,000.
the way that they wanted to write it up this time for the loader, that's part of the increased cost, is the time that they figured that we would use the loader for mixing the salt and sand,
As if we had to rent a
and
little.
if we had to rent it, and that's where Zach came up with the $14,000 a year. So if we had to rent a loader, that's how much it would cost us. And that's how they came up with the formula for the $14,000.
So we're not involved in reimbursing them for the $140,000.
Now, if they blow a tire, they blow a tire.
No, he has to, are we reimbursing them still? There was a purchase of a new thing up there, a new roll-off truck, right?
We give them $10,000.
Right, but that's part of the agreement, is it not? That's part of the transfer station
That's part
agreement.
of the loader. Not
Not the loader, but the transfer station agreement with Hope, we're going to be giving them for the next 3 or 4 years, depending on how much we still owe them. That's the agreement each year for the next 3 or 4 years,
Yep.
correct?
And the-
Why isn't that in here, or is it?
Well, that's what Phil was trying to tell them on that side, can you break it out?
Is that what we're gonna see? Will it be on the agreement that she's
Just
printing?
break it out that
This
way.
agreement's only for 27. There's gonna be another, have to be another contract for 28.
That's
We're not
fine.
doing- Last time we did this, I went to Steve and we signed a contract for 23, and every time I went to him, I said, well, what about a new contract for 24, or 25, or 26? And all he did was say, no, we'll just let it go.
Yeah, you just renewed it.
That's not right, and I tried to get him to change that, but he did not. We should have had a contract every year, not just say, because our first contract was for year 23. And I went to him personally, and said, what about new, oh, just let it slide, that's good for this year, it's good for next.
But aren't you as the supervisor and the board supposed to pursue that? If
Yes.
you weren't- If you didn't accept
Well, you
his
can't do
answer and
anything
you,
if you can't-
that,
what are you
you
gonna do if they don't
just
wanna-
now say, oh, that's what he said. But if you're in the position, a supervisor's position, it's for you to pursue if you're not satisfied with the information you're given and find out the information, the way it satisfies you, and
Well-
whether you find out the definitions or how each
It's
thing
just
is
like
broken
try-
down.
It's just like trying to get more detail on this contract. They won't give us any, they just say, it's this much for this much, this much for this much, 3,000 for, we've been paying 3,500 for a used, since that truck was new, 3,500, is that our half, what is your, are they paying 3,500 too for maintenance? I don't know, they won't tell us that, but a brand new truck that's under warranty, and all you do is change the oil in it, and in each 2 years you change the oil. Is that $3,000 to change the oil? We've asked that more detail, and they won't refuse. The only way we're gonna get it is if we foil.
I don't believe that to be true whatsoever. If you ask the Board of Hope to meet with your board, just like they did when you were up there, they will provide you with all of that in detail. If Steve Tomlinson was here, he'd be going nuts.
I asked,
John, we were right at that meeting.
I was there, I know.
And all he said was, here's the detail, and it's the same stuff that was in the contract.
Well, he did that because your approach was that you were talking about a district. That threw the whole thing into turmoil. All of a sudden, it was a district that you're going to be taxed.
We weren't talking about the district at that time, we were talking about the.
Okay, whatever you say.
But at the whole meeting, and when he was sitting here too, he explained where 14,000 came from.
Yes, that's absolutely true. But there were, the other items weren't brought up that I remember. There wasn't a big discussion on that.
The 10,000, whatever it is built into the agreement of
For the truck.
for the truck.
Yeah, $10,721. But we've never, all the stuff that we should be getting, like, we've never seen where they bought the truck for $140,000. They never gave us that. They never give us a report of what repairs are done on the truck. We've asked them for more detail, and that's all we get. And the only way you're gonna get it is if you foil it.
I don't believe that. As a former supervisor, if you want that stuff, they will give it to you because we're supposed to be cooperating.
Well, you better,
You want?
I believe they cooperate.
you better still ask Steve if he will.
I will.
Anybody else?
Did you want a copy?
Thank you, Carol.
That's to rent the loader for 1 year.
No,
That was
if we were to, they came up with that number, if they were going,
Did you raise your
the
hand?
time that we would use it, if we would have to go and rent a loader,
Steve has it, you know,
Oh,
that's how much it would cost, that's how much they came up with,
Right, this is that.
half the price. So that's part of the 14. We have no, we don't own anything, that's just the use of it.
And as Carol pointed out, and the rest of you are pointing out, as I look at this actual agreement, if this is the one for 27, okay, it's their wording that needs to be cleared up, okay? Yes, you did just copy on your resolution, but I'm suggesting to you, you don't want to pass the resolution the way it's worded, because it doesn't mean anything. So you will need to meet with them and clarify this. You can certainly pass tonight.
We're gonna pass a resolution that we're gonna sign the contract.
There you go, and that's perfect.
But we need more clarity.
Exactly, excellent.
That's what we're gonna pass.
Clarity is okay,
We
but
need
the
to-
contract is, the intent of the contract is what everybody seems to agree on. The word intent wields just as much authority as
The problem is we don't know
Yeah.
what we're paying. And we tried to get that out of them.
I'll assist in whatever way I can and talk with them too.
Which tank are we talking about? I thought we bought a new tank and it's.
that was a mistake in the resolution, it's gonna be amended tonight.
So what do we pay? So there's no $3,000
No,
for a
for
car?
the tank, no,
No, that's out of there. That's
And the
got,
30,000 was a typo
and the 30,000 was a typo.
So,
on the resolution.
so the resolution as written is all, needs to be redone.
Well, I redid it, to take out the 30,000 typo and the 3,000 for the tank. It was rewritten. But the resolution on the top does say Hope Transfer Station Agreement. I just didn't repeat it down at the bottom.
It's not broken, really broken out, it's all one, as you heard Steve and.
Where it said resolved, I should add Transfer Station Agreement. It's already listed in the name of that resolution, but not further down.
the whole 2 pages missing.
I have a question and an idea. Like say for example, you already got your truck and your dumpster. Is there any way you can lease that piece of property where you put your dumpsters on? And that way there, you're responsible. Benson takes care of their own dumpsters. Hope takes care of their own dumpsters. And they're gonna treat you with that lease agreement like you're a landlord. So anything else that's involved around that, it's on them. You're just leasing that piece of property, put your 2 dumpsters on. And then you're responsible with your own equipment to take it up, do your tipping fees, and that way you're segregated from each other. And God, mighty, that sounds like a good way to go.
That might be something that we could discuss with them.
The cost,
I mean,
before we asked them that at the town meeting up in Hope.
Cost
they
analysis
did
will not work on that.
They did not.
I'll tell you right now, with depreciation, cost of money, and the
Well,
permanent.
that's gotta be figured into the price that they're gonna lease it for. So that way,
No,
responsibility
Frank.
is where it belongs.
Where we stand owning the trucks, which by the way, we talked about illegal stuff, guys, you have to understand. If a circuit judge saw that you did not do a seeker and you own the trucks that says for use of this in lieu of Hope, that is illegal as in law, as in consequence. And what a judge can do is nullify the sale. And I don't think the seller at this time that it elapsed, there'd be a legal battle. What's gonna cost us money? And to your point, Frank, the cost analysis of maintaining these trucks, let's say we clear up ownership. The only way we can clear up ownership is file a seeker report that we're amending our eventual plan to eventually have a transfer station.
But where we are, we're actually, if you think about it, if they take care of their situation, but they're, just let me speak, with their equipment, their responsibility, so that identity is just assigned to them for the
We'd have
town of Hope.
to, we'd have to give up
And we-
ownership. We cannot own it.
I'm saying, lease it or rent it.
We're still a principal.
You're
We're
not
leasing
supposed
it
to
to
argue
them.
in between,
Okay.
you're not supposed
Yeah.
to carry out conversations between.
It's addressing the situation at the board, though. I'm sorry. Okay.
My thought process, what is the future of the truck? And I agree with Frank in regards to the second public input, and I don't know why you couldn't just do a resolution at any time to make that happen. That's just my opinion.
Charles is right on that, because the reason there is a 2-minute is because of me, because at the, one of the,
We've had like 5 or 6.
yeah,
It's okay, I'm not saying it's bad input, I'm just, that's what it's trying to avoid, ongoing.
correct.
But
You,
good points.
you are correct.
I'll shut up next.
But it was because of me that that was taken away and reduced from 3 minutes or whatever it was to 2 minutes. And initially, when it was just me and perhaps Mr. Fernandez, they ran the clock. So when that clock went off, I was supposed to shut it down. And the public is saying that's not working because there's no room for transparency or discussion. And you can't have a whole meeting on a topic, come to the end and just walk away. It raises a lot of questions during the meeting that could be resolved right then at the end. So if you were willing to write a resolution and simply say, we're going to amend that organizational resolution and add a little time at the end for the public to talk about what happened.
Well, there again, if you have to talk at the beginning of the meeting, you're basically talking about what happened the last month. You don't have the input of this month. And, I mean, that's great. Talk about something.
And public input is supposed to be agenda driven only.
But if you
That
have,
night
if you give the
meeting.
people, you know, public input for the, actually the beginning, that'd be last month. And at the end of the meeting, you give them more of a chance to speak, you wouldn't have all this. Because the question would be answered.
I have to say to Phil's credit, last meeting, I asked if we could have questions at the end of the meeting. He graciously said yes.
Yep.
So, and that worked.
That's one meeting.
All right, can we get back to the, this is what I have for the transfer costs that they gave us. Fuel, 12,020 per year. Now, does that mean they're putting in 12,200 their half? Is it $24,000 for fuel to drive a truck back and forth from Hope 4 times in a week? Or is it, these are all things we wanted more detail on, and Steve just handed us a paper.
What does it say on the top? Annual, your half, total, what is it?
Town of Benson's share of the
Okay.
transfers.
That's what you pay. That's your bill.
But our shares are, like I had, is the fuel $24,000 to go to 60 miles, one trip? And they do 4 a week. The truck gets around 6 miles to the gallon.
I don't know, got
You
calculated.
got, if you figure it out, 60 miles, 6 miles, that's 10 gallons. That's 40 gallons a week. 40 gallons a week times 50 is 2,000 gallons. 2,000 gallons of fuel is $10,000. So we're paying for all the fuel, or is that, is Hope paying for some of that fuel? That's what we asked for more detail about. Steve didn't want to give us that.
70 cents.
How many trucks?
One truck. One truck that gets, I looked it up, that truck gets 6 to 8 miles, depending on if it's loaded or not loaded. And that covers all the fuel that we're paying, we'll pay for that fuel for the year. What are they paying?
So, 40 miles.
We've asked for more detail. I'll gladly make a resolution tonight that we sign the contract if they give us all the detail of repairs and receipts,
That would be a perfect resolution.
as we should.
Yes,
And I tried to get them to give us that, but we have no, you were at the meeting, John. But
I was.
we asked for more detail, he just puts his hands up and throws the paper on that.
And wait till next month. I would.
clean that up first.
And that was one of the reasons we're sitting here when we first started, that we trying to save the town of Benson money and doing it on our own, because this stuff is terrible. We pay $430 per ton. Our tonnage is 165 per year. I figured it out. We pay 15 to the county, and we pay $57,000 here. It divides up to, we pay $430 per ton for our garbage, which is outrageous. And the only way that I could figure, I'm gonna ask Tracy, the only way that I could figure that the county should take over, as far as I'm concerned, all the transfer stations, just like Fulton County. Because we pay the county, we pay taxes for the county. The transfer stations up there, Lake Pleasant and Indian Lake, they don't have transfer station. The county runs those transfer stations. They don't pay this outrageous price. And Fulton County, they own all the transfer stations. And I would like to have Tracy consider that. I'm gonna ask Tracy if he would consider taking over the transfer stations, because that'd be fair. Everybody at the county would pay for that, not $4.30 or whatever, $430 per ton that we're paying.
Well, you need to make
Plus
it,
on top of the taxes that we pay.
But unfortunately, that's not something that's gonna happen right now.
Right.
but you ought to go around to make an adjusting list, what you want him to, make a list of what you want him to adjust the what you want. That there, I don't agree with that contract at all, I agree with you on that. But things need to be broken down, then to the law. Right now, you ain't breaking down nothing.
Being at that home, and I can't say that I can testify to the accuracy, but when Tracy spoke and there was questions of
Tonnage.
the breakdown, and I don't even know if it was regarding that.
Yeah.
But Tracy even explained, there's some things, there's a mingling. When you
Mm-hmm.
have to make out your budgets, and one thing might, because it sounds like it should be under trucks, or, all I can say is I had a landscape business, right? So is it a mower, travel, what does it cover? Your expenses? Is it the tools and supplies? Is it maintenance? Is it materials? Like, I think there's a misunderstanding, and to wrap your mind around it, maybe you sit down and say, okay, where is this mingling of the numbers that, like, if this goes under this, maybe they're including that number seems higher to you and doesn't seem accurate. But I remember him saying something about, well, sometimes with the trucks, it has to go into this, and there was an explanation for it. But there's not, unless you make your own little crib sheet, sometimes you gotta just go and make a cheat sheet and just say, okay, this is what they're doing with these numbers, and this is where they're putting them, and this is what this is under. So you have your own, wrap your mind around what they're throwing at you a little better. There could be a little mingling, is what I'm saying.
It's just part of that's why I brought up their budget. Their budget for the transfer station is exactly what we pay.
But I'm saying,
On
we
their
can sit
budget,
down.
that they put money aside for the transfer station is exactly what we pay.
So, but
There's
like I
no
said,
other,
It's not broken down. We
There's
can
no-
say it's not broken down into different.
it's exactly the same as what we pay them on
None
the
of their
contract.
money,
Right.
there's none of their money in their budget.
Well, why don't you make?
I mean, that's what it appears to be,
Yeah.
which is what Tracy was saying, well, the truck is probably their other part of it, but this and that. But we're paying the 10,000, whatever, a year for the truck, our portion of it. But it's not under, it just
Yeah.
happenstance that we pay exactly what their budget is.
right, but it
For the
sounds,
budget for the land, so they must have more money they got put in the budget for landfill.
but sometimes it comes across as if there's an element of deceit going on, and I think it's just a thing that if you sat down, the numbers would make better sense, and it's not deceit, it's just that's how they do their paperwork, this is how you do your paperwork, and if you both sit down and say, well, this is where this is, maybe there'll be a more clarified understanding and a better communication.
Well, how long was this contract's been written up this way for how many years now?
Yeah, this is the same contract back in 23, they just changed the numbers.
But even before that, right?
Yes, it did. When I was supervisor, it was the same for 4
It was
years,
exactly the same.
Yeah.
with different numbers.
Yeah.
They just changed the number.
Well, why can't you ask them for all repairs, having them submit you an invoice.
Because we'd have to pay for it. Do you know what
Well,
they're
wait a
giving
minute,
us?
now, we're paying for it anyway.
No.
I get a break.
Phil, can I get a copy, can we share a copy of those expenses so we can give you some support
This
on
is,
them?
I don't have the other one for I have just this one.
Can I just look at it?
But there's a sand and salt one too.
I don't have the sand and salt one. But that was real simple, the street, so much
Town
for
of
it.
Benson share.
There wasn't much on it. I thought I had one.
Thank you.
I mean, because they're gonna have an invoice on repairs anyway.
But the only way,
So you should have
the
it.
only way that, I mean, we asked for more detail and they didn't give us any, so, but the only way you're really gonna get it is if you foil repairs and foil where our money goes. We'd like to know where our money
Don't sign a
goes.
contract to it.
Does- Say if $3,000 at the end of the year, they only spend say it's $3,000 for repairs, and they only spend, $3,000 for building repair and maintenance.
Can I use your
And
calculator?
so there should be $6,000 there, because they should be putting their hat.
Well, that's why the invoice will clarify that. What you need to make before you sign a contract.
I know, I need more.
But don't sign a contract until they start handing you invoices, and that justifies for both township.
And that's why we should, the only way you're gonna get the stuff that you really need is to foil it, so you have bills, receipts. We don't even know how much, it says $3,500 for well testing. Is that $3,500 for the whole thing, or is it $7,000?
Now, this contract, you need to make an adjustment, what you want before you sign it. You want invoices on all repairs. And if they got an invoice, $3,000, and we're paying that, at least you got something that governs that money. Right now, you have nothing but a word count.
I know that, we tried to sit there at a public meeting
You need to change it.
and discuss this, but it's very hard to discuss stuff for the town, and when everybody else is talking. The two towns need to sit
And
down
that's
together
executive meeting
and have a
between the two
meeting
townships.
between the towns.
Executive
I
meeting.
I don't even know if that's legal, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, you can, under contract, I think.
Can't.
But anyways, we'll pass a resolution tonight stating that we are gonna be part of Holt's transfer station, but we need, but we're gonna ask for more detail before I sign the contract. I have to sign this contract before the 1st of September.
I got a suggestion too. So if you're saying that we have to do a FOIL request for everything, do you think that would, if they see us going through doing FOIL requests, they'll find out these invoices, that it might put a little bit of pressure on them for the fact that, alright, well, now we'll.
I can say we're gonna foil it and see what they.
Well, no, if you start actions speak louder than words, if you're putting in FOIL requests, do you think that they would be more open to, alright, well now, here, hold on, get nervous and show you.
I think they need more open to just communication.
Well, I think out of courtesy, we should
think so.
walk one more time and say we'd like more detail before we go to that.
And yes,
Myself, so.
you weren't at the last meeting, but John's on all of them.
Yeah.
Anyways, Steve told us that for him to run that up there is $200,000 a year. They don't have that in their budget.
Yeah.
I don't see, I got their budget, their approved budget, and it's not in there.
And that'll come up when you meet with them. That can all
I
be
mean,
covered.
But then Steve says, we're giving you a great deal. Then Steve says, well, you don't have to sign if you don't want it. But then you can see that he was obviously upset if we didn't go with him on the contract, so.
If you don't go with them.
If you read them, I mean, it's a lot of money to Hope too.
Mhm.
They can't do
And
it.
if it's our portion, and then it's our portion. But Steve just says you're getting a good deal, and we've heard people from the town say, you guys are getting a good deal, you should sign it. But when you look at it in detail, just for fuel, is it a good deal?
I calculated the fuel at $5.25 a gallon. I came out with a little over 11,000. They're charging 12. I'm sure they drive other places too. So that's not. Listen, owning a truck or the fuel or all of this stuff, and I'm only paying for bills. You don't have a liability. You don't have depreciation. All right, no, because depreciation and expense. If any accountant in the room, I think we're still taking advantage of that as an expense. Ownership, you don't want ownership. You know, if I have a lawn service or Bonnie comes over, I don't want to buy her equipment. I'll give her a check to do, you know, the landscape design, I don't wanna own a truck. I don't wanna own a skag mower or whatever the hell you call them.
We
You know,
understand that.
and the other thing is, there's a lot of gimmies in this contract, all right? For instance, the roadway. I mean, Frank, I applaud your endeavor to find out the minutia, but if we get involved in that, you're gonna poke a bee's nest of all these things, and they're gonna get riled and kind of ticked off and say,
But they
okay,
can't
you
go on their own.
you want minutia, we'll give you minutia, we're gonna pay.
You gotta
You know?
use business.
Well, I brought that up to
They
the
can't
last
do it.
discussion there.
They
Yeah,
have no
And I
choice.
said, if we weren't there, would you be plowing it?
I'm sorry?
I asked them if we weren't there, would they still plow? Would they still have to
Yeah,
maintain
but
the road?
yeah, whether you're there or not, it
Would
would,
they
like,
still
you're
have
still
to do all
there.
that,
And
so,
they use that road for their own equipment up there and highway use too, it's not like it's just a highway station. They have all their plows up there and.
Yeah, but you're getting a plowed road,
Right.
you know? That's not
Yeah.
logical.
there is value into what it is, but if you're gonna break everything down, if it's $12,000 a year for fuel, what's your charging us? That's what it says, fuel.
Yeah.
It should be 6.
No,
No.
60 miles.
So it's $24,000 a year for fuel.
Yeah. No, yeah, oh, at least, yeah. And I did that at 525 for diesel. Is that relatively fair? Okay.
I would
It's probably higher now,
Higher.
you know.
Okay.
I don't
So
know
if it is higher, then the 12,000 is right on the money.
That's not far.
Well, the last time we paid fuel was $4.92. We don't pay what they do with the pump, we pay a little less.
Well, I'm sure the truck doesn't just go right there and back, you know, maybe, okay, let him go to Mountain Mark, get a sandwich or something, truck. That's part of the business. I mean,
Well, why can't you use your own truck instead of the
he's, Frank, I'm talking about on that run. You know, it's not a prisoner of war, you know?
I realize that,
We're,
but you got a truck sitting idle.
we're in a tough position as having to have a contract for this, because we need a transfer station for people to go to. And Hope's got us pinned right in the corner, so if they don't wanna give us detail, we still have to have a transfer station
Yeah.
to go to. So whether we sign this contract the way it is,
Right, I thought that was resolved at the last one, that's what you were going to do,
That's
and
what
then
we
you
are-
were going to do
we are
your
gonna-
investigations
I
going
just
forward
wanted to
in the
let you know that
future.
if I can't get more detail, we're still gonna sign the contract.
Correct, that's the way I
Because we
understood it,
don't, because that's the way it's gotta be.
right.
They
You
got
don't
us
look
in a-
back, look
They
forward.
got our back into a corner and we have to have a transfer station.
Since there is no second public comment period, I have to ask this. Will you, as a board, since there's 3 of you, a quorum sitting here, will you, in fact, prepare a resolution for the next meeting appointing to Dave Rogers to sit on the board? He's got all the credentials, he's got all the history, he knows the math, you've got budget coming up. So please, I urge you to consider it strongly. There'd be no reason to turn him away. He'd be an asset to this town. He'd help you in all your endeavors with hope. He'd be an asset.
I second
We're
that.
gonna, Lori Mead turned in her, I'll cover that right now before we, go on with the resolution. This is Lori Mead's letter that she resigned. We're gonna, up my position onto it is we put it on the webpage in case there's anybody else in the town that wants the possibility of being on the board. And then if there's nobody else does, and then we'll vote on whether we put Dave in or not. That's the way it should be done.
Correct. You are correct.
And that's what we're gonna do,
Excellent.
not just appoint Dave.
And that's fine.
I was gonna vote for Dave, but since you were supportive on that,
Thanks, Rod.
Don't you have to accept the resignation formally?
that's what we're
trying
trying
to do with this meeting.
Oh.
We're not there yet.
It wasn't on the agenda, that's all.
Well,
That's probably,
Under committee
didn't get it on the
discussion.
agenda.
probably why I didn't get an answer, it wasn't official, she hadn't officially papered it, or resigned yet. We had to do that part of it first, and then we go forward from there. So,
I'm gonna make a motion to accept Lori Mead's, resignation.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that we advertise on the webpage to see if there's anybody else in Benson that wants to be a councilman or a council person before, other than Dave Rogers right now. So, and when that happens, we'll address it at the next meeting. Can we move into resolutions now? resolution for approval for the transfer station. I think we had to change all this, and we have to change it to a resolution stating that the highway superintendent the board authorizes him to sign a transfer station agreement with Hope before September 1st. After trying to get more detail, but that shouldn't be in the
So
resolution.
you're gonna
The resolution should
pass
just
it
be,
before the next meeting, is that what you're saying?
well, it has to happen before the first meeting. We'll have to have a special meeting if something comes up.
Yeah.
But right now, we passed a resolution stating that the board authorizes the highway superintendent to sign a contract with Hope before September 1st. Because they gotta have it before September 1st for their budget.
For what's this for?
The transfer station.
Oh,
Transfer station, sand and salt contract, whatever.
It has to be the supervisor that signs a contract,
Yeah, he
no one
said
else.
highway superintendent.
Yeah.
He meant supervisor.
Okay, I just want to be
Yeah, that's why.
clear, okay.
I'm the one that signs it.
Correct, you said highway, though, that's
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry.
That's why I was.
The intent of that contract anyway.
So just to be clear, we're not gonna store sand and salt
No.
out on the road.
No.
No.
And we're not gonna have any fuel at Town Hall.
Yes, we have fuel
We
there.
have a fuel tank there. Double wall.
We have fuel at Hope.
No, we're not having
No.
it. That's coming out of it. That's not supposed to be in there.
It's gotta come out.
I don't know why that's in there. They must have made a mistake. We don't have fuel up there. We
Is
have
that
the
also
fuel,
the
we
final
have the
price?
fuel, we have the fuel tank till the end of the year if we wanna keep it. But as soon as he's got like 100 gallons left, we're gonna turn it. Huh? You're all done up there?
Yeah.
He's gonna turn the keys over to Hope. We don't need that tank anymore.
So the total price then is less than by $3,000?
I don't know, I don't really think so, because this right here says $57,000 on this sheet here, and there's no fuel tank in there. So, this contract that he sent us wasn't correct to start, so we have to get them to change that.
You know, God willing, everybody's around next year. We should have a committee of one or two that meets with their committee of one or two. Sit down and iron this stuff all out.
I agree with you.
I know.
What are we gonna do
We tried
about
to
that?
get
Long
them,
before
before it even happened.
August.
Yeah.
We tried to ask them that, to have a committee to talk about it.
Should I make a comment?
You can certainly bring it up, yes.
Hey, Phil, okay. What can the town be, currently that fuel tank is not legal.
Which one?
The new one you put in the
It
tank.
is legal.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Tell me how it's legal and who gave you the approval.
We bought that through Bold Fuels. It's, I asked him if there was anything we had to do with that to make it legal. He said it's under 1,500 gallons. We did not need any permits. We did not need, it's had a double wall tank. It's got all the stuff on it belongs to be legal.
That's the guy who sold to you. By the way, the law is 1,100. And the wiring is not blast proof. You need state sticker on that. And you have to get approval from whatever they call Hudson River, Black River. They have to give you approval.
For that fuel tank? It's not on their property.
I'm sorry?
It's not on their property.
It's adjacent to. Believe me, I just got a permit. And it's like,
I'll check into that.
just to be aware, if there's, have a contingency in case somebody.
We've always had a fuel tank there. It was outside at one time, wasn't it? I don't know.
No, it was always inside.
How about spillage? It's on the earth, right? It's not on a concrete pad where the truck is gonna be sitting getting fuel. Spillage.
You need a
It's
containment
on its
area.
own little location.
No, you need a containment area, 110% of the fuel.
Not with a double wall tank.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll check into this.
Please.
stuff for you.
In which case, we may need the fuel at home
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out.
Okay. Back to the resolution. Authorizing the supervisor to sign the transfer station agreement before September 1st and try to get more detail on that. And if we have to, we'll have another special meeting before the 1st.
I know the ones are buried.
I'll second it.
Also an empty tank under the entrance.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. the other resolution, I have a call into the Association of Towns. They sent me an email, the town may pay official costs of fuel, gasoline instead of mileage, allowing when an official uses a personal vehicle for the town, but only as a part of broader actual necessary expense. The town must choose between two mutual exclusive reimbursement methods. One reimbursement method, actual and necessary travel expense, which may include gasoline, oil, storage costs, or two, paying mileage. A town may not pay both the same travel. If the town elects the actual expense method, it may reimburse fuel costs, but it may not reimburse the official for general vehicle maintenance, which we know. The town board needs to approve gas or mileage by board resolution or motion approved by at least the majority of the full board. So I'd like to wait till I can get more information, and so I'm gonna table that. I get a second to table that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
With that, I would say, I don't think I would use, if I was you, Mike, I wouldn't use a personal vehicle at all.
No.
I would just use a small dump truck, whatever.
I have
It protects yourself, it's not a good idea.
I use my own new vehicle for.
The trouble is,
I know it don't make, I know you, and shame on us for not protecting you better.
Yeah.
Your heart was in the right place, and it wasn't a melting tank, but, you know, everybody's, it's just the way it is.
The liability.
Even if you have to drive that big silver one around, so be it.
Yeah.
That's the way it's gonna be. In my mind, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
I would never use my personal vehicle. I mean, with the state, we'd get mileage, but that's when we had to use our own personal vehicles to get there, but that was hours away.
Right.
Then they'd give us mileage, but I think, it's no good.
I can see what you're saying, but my problem, I can understand that. My problem with that is if Mike's home and he can't get
Take the truck
down here
home
to
with
do something.
Pick the small
there's
white dump truck.
There's no truck here for the highway
I know.
to use. So we kind of need.
We'll do the mileage voucher then. It's better.
I think the voucher mileage thing is the way to go, so. Absolutely. But we still need, he needs to use his personal truck when we have a truck down for a week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we don't have this problem.
We gotta have a truck down here for the crew to come out and check for trees if he can.
Yeah.
What about
Goes by every
liability?
day.
I mean, you're setting yourself up for a liability, situation here, because say he's up on the road with his personal vehicle, okay? Now, somebody runs into him, and he's actually on the clock, okay? Now, his insurance picks up the bill, I'm sure if that accident was very serious, you're gonna go to trial. I don't think that's a smart move to do
Well-
that, because the liability is gonna come back and on. It's got to.
I can't tell you that.
Well,
I know.
Well,
you're using your personal vehicle.
I'm saying just use his personal vehicle to get to work.
Right, but not,
And then from there.
like,
take
if
the
you're gonna
town
run up
truck.
and down the road checking on,
Yeah, I wouldn't make my rounds with that if I was him. I would
it's not
just-
designed for that. Does that make sense?
We'll straighten that out.
Alright.
But I'm glad you're checking the roads.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're checking the roads.
Yeah.
Thanks for it.
You do a good job. And I would like to, give my appreciation to Lori for, being a councilman. She did a great job. She's still gonna stay as historian, so, I wanna thank her and put it in the minutes.
Yep.
You have anything else? Mike, you got something, right?
Oh, yeah. The scrap metal that we took back, the receipts for, what it was.
You paid $280 for scrap metal, but got that.
Not even a pickup truck full.
Yep, not even a truck full.
Here's the original. There's the funds for it.
what account is that money going?
And Mike, he said something about, Mike mentioned something about maybe some petty cash for water, so they
Yeah,
can
'cause
have
there's-
water or something.
At the town barn, it's salt water there, so the guys can drink it.
I think we'll have to research that a little bit and at the next meeting.
I think we can just order it on Amazon or whatever for the town.
Yeah, or we can, if we need water, put a
Yeah.
voucher in for us.
Right.
That's the way to do it. And put a
Yeah.
voucher in, we'll pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or use my statement. You're welcome.
Yeah. She'll take care of that.
Bill,
That was for one small truck, right?
Yeah,
Bill,
didn't even fill the back.
have we decided what we're gonna do with the roll-off truck?
Yeah, I'm gonna mention that right now. I'm gonna make a motion that we let Mike, our highway superintendent, turn the roll-off truck over to Auctions International for sale and the roll-offs and let him take care of that with Auctions International. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Probably the language should state that we have a minimum bid.
Yeah, 60,000.
We wanna take a
But
look
that's-
on it.
You don't put that in the, you don't put that up there until
Just put a reserve.
they hit it. Yeah, it's a reserve.
Yeah.
I did hear some rumblings, visiting my brother up in Speculator, that Camp of the Woods is having some conflict with regard to transferring their garbage from the facility to Speculator and then to Lake Pleasant. Maybe they,
Let them look on the website. Give them the website. 'Cause that's where we can sell it right there.
okay.
Yeah. And that truck's is immaculate shape, it's been all sandblasted and painted, it's got a brand new rebuild into it, with less than 100,000 miles, it's in great shape.
What year is that?
You wanna keep that spare.
13.
13. That's part of your arm right there.
This is total cash on hand that's not appropriated or encumbered at Benson right now. In other words, anything that's on budget that we're gonna need to finish out the fiscal year, the calendar year. Other than that, how much money we got in the bank in simple terms?
I don't know for sure without, I know what I don't have them in front of me. I think you're looking for the fund balance, is what you're looking for, after not counting the budget.
200,000, 300,000?
Well, I think there's 200,000, maybe 160, 150 in the highway and another 100,000 in the general. Not counting the CDs we have. We have a $54,000 CD on the cemetery fund, we have a $75,000 CD for that grant money.
So they're not liquid, how long are they tied up in the CD?
Only 3 months, I think that's how much. Short term.
So
But the
they
trouble
all
is,
together.
the trouble is right now, I did test this the other day, we put a CD in for 50,000, we made almost $5,000 in the last couple of years. And it's the place for it to be, rather than sit there in a general savings account
I agree.
for $1 a month, you know what I mean?
Might be a good thing to report though monthly.
Huh?
It might be a good thing to report to the public as an agenda item.
It was already brought up a while back, just went out the window. Let me ask you a question, I'm a little bit confused. You have a budget for, the highway department, and then you also have a fund for general.
Correct.
There is a third fund, as you call the fund?
A third fund?
I don't know.
No. Well, the general fund and the highway fund. And then there's
I
savings.
never heard you say general fund.
There's a general fund, which is the A account.
Yes.
And there's a highway fund, which is the D account.
So when you say fund account, you're paying, what are you referring with those stuff, with that statement? You say fund account all the time. So I don't know,
That's
I realize that, but what one are you coming out of? That's the problem. A general fund I would understand.
General fund is,
General,
general
it
fund
doesn't be
is,
highway,
highway fund has its own money,
yeah.
and the general fund, the A account, has its own money.
But you always make the statement, I'm gonna take it out of the fund. We don't know what fund.
Well, I always say general fund or, I always,
Never heard you say
yeah,
general.
I do.
Okay, good to hear.
I always say highway fund or general fund.
Okay, good. That's what we want. I always hear fund balance, that's all I ever.
Well, there's the
Fund.
budget,
That's the
there's the budget that's
But
the
you
A
gotta
account,
identify what it is.
and there's the budget that's the D account, and then there's the other money that's left over, that's a fund.
Okay?
Motion adjourned,
I'll make the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.